We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DT India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. Trump begins first Congress address at Capitol Hill with "America is back," says first month of presidency most successful. US President vows to bring back Gaza hostages, says working to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict, cites Zelenskyy's letter. Volodymyr Zelenskyy expresses regret over White House spat with Trump, says nobody wants peace more than Ukrainians. Suicide car bombings at security installation in northwest Pakistan killed at least 12, dozens injured. And in sports, India storms into the final of ICC Champions Trophy 2025, beats Australia by 4 wickets in the semi-finals. And on to the details now. US President Donald Trump declared America is back on Tuesday in his first address to Congress since returning to power, hailing his radical social and economic policies. Well, Donald Trump began his first address to a joint session of Congress after taking office with a 3-word message: America is back. Taking a victory lap, Trump wasted no time touting his electoral victory during his address to a joint address to Congress on Tuesday, claiming that his win gave him a mandate like has not been seen in many decades.
The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again.
Well, much like his 2024 campaign, Trump used Tuesday's speech to talk about securing the US-Mexico border and the executive orders he issued, including deploying military members to the area.
Immediate south of our border is now dominated entirely by criminal cartels that murder, rape, torture, and exercise total control. They have total control over a whole nation, posing a grave threat to our national security. The cartels are waging war on America, and it's time for America to wage war on the cartels, which we are doing.
Also, President Trump gave Elon Musk and the newly created Department of Government Efficiency a shout out in his address to a joint session of Congress on Tuesday.
Under the Trump administration, all of these scams, and there are far worse, but I didn't think it was appropriate to talk about them. They're so bad. Many more have been found out and exposed and swiftly terminated by a group of very intelligent, mostly young people, headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud. And we've taken back the money.
Well, Trump also announced his plans to implement reciprocal tariffs in the near future on several countries. The U.S. will raise its tariff rate for goods from another country to whatever that country's levies on U.S. products from April 2nd.
Tariffs are not just about protecting American jobs. They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much.
Also, Trump listed what he calls as bold actions, including sweeping funding freezes and renaming the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. He says there will be tax cuts for everybody and promises to balance the federal budget. Trump said on Tuesday that Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, had told him Kyiv was ready for talks with Russia and U.S. minerals deal days after a White House clash. Also, it was the longest ever address to a joint session of Congress by any U.S. president, clocking in at more than 1 hour and 40 minutes. Republican Trump's speech beat the previous record set by Democratic President Bill Clinton in his State of the Union address in the year 2000.
It's our presidency. Is the most successful.
And for more, we have Anil Thomas joining us. Well, Anil, Trump began his speech by declaring America is back. What do you make of Trump's assertion that his administration had accomplished more in 6 weeks than most do in years? How do you think this claim holds up?
Well, good morning, Lipakshi. Well, very much true to the word, if one may say so. You know, that's been his poll promise. That's been what Trump has been trying to do in 2.0 in the last 43 days of him controlling or, running America. And I think to a very large extent, if you look at the speech that he's made, there are many perceived achievements that he speaks about, many ways in which he talks about how America is going to be great again. Also looking at the way ahead on how, without much of investment, he's managed to get trillions of dollars into the country in terms of investments promised or investments signed on the dotted line. And also with regards to immigration, when it comes to, other issues on how to help America bounce back, especially when it comes to tariff being used as a negotiating tool by Trump to the best possible way. I think he's made some inroads in especially making the world sit up and notice about the unpredictability that he brings to the table. But having said that, there is also, there are many things that he's made, many things that he said in his speech which were bereft of facts, which sometimes, gave a feel that he got carried away, especially with the behavior that the opposition, that's the Democrats, the way they behaved in the House. But all in all, if one takes a look at this particular 100-minute speech, which is the longest, which beats the record that was set by, way back in '93 by Bill Clinton, and also surpassing the longest speech that he made in 2017. This is the longest, but it's a great achievement for him purely in terms of substance and word. But how does it get rolled out is something that we'll have to wait and watch, because these are still initial days of his ruling. But this is something that goes well, where the world has taken stock of it, and the world is, sitting up with attention, listening to every word that Trump has to say for America and the world.
Absolutely. Also, Anil, Trump's comments on tariffs and trillions of dollars coming, as you just mentioned also, America also have drawn attention. How do you think the economic impact of these tariffs will be felt across various countries, and what about their long-term effectiveness?
Well, tariffs is something that I mentioned is a negotiating tool that he has used, and he's used it well. Wherever he's tried, he's managed to get maximum returns. There is a likelihood that Justin Trudeau might have a conversation with Trump tomorrow. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, after that big Oval visit and the breakdown of talks, suddenly has written a letter to Trump indicating that he would need Trump for some logical conclusions to the conflict that's taking place between Russia and Ukraine. He's managed to get a ceasefire, especially in the Israel-Hamas strikes that began on October 7th the year before. But so, there are tangible outcomes that he's managed to do. Can he do more? Is something that we're looking forward to, because when he came to power, he said both these conflicts are going to be over within 24 hours. So it's 43 days, the conflict is still on. We're looking at some light at the end of the horizon, but we've still not got to a logical conclusion when it comes to, ceasefire being followed and this particular conflict ending and the world looking for a better future. But also, having said all this, when it comes to investments or businesses that have come into America, there is a likelihood of 1.7 trillion worth of business that's already been inked, according to Trump in his speech, which includes 200 billion that SoftBank has promised, 500 billion that Google and OpenAI have done, 165 billion from a Taiwanese semiconductor company that Trump has indicated. These are investments that have come into America without much of giveaways that Trump says he has done. So purely in terms of tariffs, he's managed to do that well as a negotiating tool, and I think he's spoken about many countries that could face the brunt of this particular tariffs that would come into play, that would roll on the 2nd of April. But I think countries need to approach this particular tariff fear with a Trump-proof plan that needs to come into play. I think the world realizes that this is something that Trump is going to bring to the table time and again. So you need to create a Trump-proof trade or a Trump-proof somewhere, a pact that comes into play, and that could be your big saving point. And I think the world understands that, and the world would be looking at that options. There is no need for knee-jerk reactions that countries would get affected by this. They will have to find ways in which to absorb the shock and maybe look at, coming back to the negotiating table and look at ways in which it can be explored, or look at other countries which are similarly affected and maybe look at a window of, having new trade partners for the near future. But if you have a retaliatory position that many countries have decided to take, I think Trump acts even tougher. So that's something that could be counterproductive. But something that the world needs to notice is that we need to create a Trump-proof kind of trade plan in place if you want to survive the next 4 years.
Also, Anil, if given Trump's remarks on Greenland and his ongoing interest in acquiring it for national security purposes, how do you think this aligns with his broader foreign policy objectives, and what implications could it have for US-Denmark relations especially?
Well, it's something that's not only Greenland. He's also spoken about the canal that he wants to take over.
Right.
And, data that's been presented or data that's been thrown in the speech, that right, left and center, which looked facts were, just off the table. He spoke about how 38,000 Americans had lost their life in the building of the canal. When you actually look at data, it's close to less than 10,000 people who lost their lives in building that canal. When it comes to Greenland, these are all claims that he's made. Remember, these are all perceived achievements that Trump is talking about that he plans to do in the future. How does he take it to a logical conclusion is something that we've still not understood. Or, from the time he's made, many countries have come ahead and offered a similar kind of counter purchase offer, saying that we are ready to buy this from America, we are ready to buy that from America. Yes, it's a tough call that he's taken, especially when it comes to expanding his borders, is also with indicating that Canada is the 51st state of America that he did, and Justin Trudeau brushed it aside. But this is something that Trump is going to use time and again. It's not that anybody is going to be off the radar. Anybody who's going to be in that same hemisphere that America is, you are in the threat of these kind of regular surprises that Trump could throw at you. I think countries have realized that this is heavy lifting that Trump is doing, but heavy lifting, does it have substance, is something that we'll have to wait and watch. But Trump once again reiterating all that he said, especially when it comes to Greenland, Panama Canal, and also Canada, is clearly reflective of the mood that he is in. You better watch out, because this is Trump 2.0. This is unlike the Democrats' era where things could be hunky-dory. This is where America is going to act tough, because America wants to be great again.
All right. Thank you so much, Anil, for all those insights from there. And moving on, while countries are not backing down, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau hit back with 25% tariffs on $20.7 billion worth of US imports. Trudeau called tariffs on Canadian imports were a very dumb thing to do and said Ottawa was striking back immediately at its closest ally. Canada also will challenge the US tariffs under rules of the WTO and the US-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement. Well, Canada, which sends 75% of all exports to the United States, may plunge into a recession unless the tariffs are lifted quickly. Trudeau said Canada would also look at non-tariff measures if need be, but did not answer directly when asked whether Ottawa might curb exports of crude oil or potash.
Canadians are reasonable and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. At the moment, the US tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response. Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods, starting with tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods immediately, and tariffs on the remaining $125 billion of American products in 21 days' time.
Also, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum took a softer approach, vowing retaliation but without details, saying she would announce Mexico's response on Sunday, March 9th. Meanwhile, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said Trump may work out a partial resolution could be announced on Wednesday after he spoke to Mexican and Canadian officials. Lutnick said Trump was considering providing some relief to companies that comply with rules under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement on trade that is due for renegotiation in 2026. While China on Tuesday swiftly retaliated against the fresh U.S. tariffs, announcing 10% to 15% hikes to import levies covering a range of American agricultural and food products and placing 25 U.S. firms under export and investment restrictions. Also, China suspended the soybean import licenses of 3 U.S. firms and halted imports of U.S. logs, stepping up retaliatory action after the United States imposed additional tariffs on Chinese goods. China also imposed import levies covering $21 billion worth of U.S. agricultural and food products, including soybeans, wheat, meat, and cotton. The suspension of U.S. logs was a direct response to Trump's move on March 1st to order a trade investigation on imported lumber. Trump had earlier told that he was thinking about imposing a 25% tariff rate on lumber and forest products. Well, the 20% tariff on Chinese imports will apply to several key Chinese electronics category untouched by prior duties, including smartphones, laptops, video game consoles, smart watches and speakers, and Bluetooth devices. And still to come on DD India News Hour. With 59 hostages still held by Hamas, Israel flags willingness to move to the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal. Vibrant celebrations take over the Netherlands' colourful carnival. And Barbie role models announced ahead of International Women's Day. Stay with us to know more who grabbed the honours.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
This week on Defense Dynamics, the geopolitics in Europe is undergoing a major shift after the Trump-Zelenskyy clash. How will this affect the continent's security and alliances? As Europe rethinks its defense posture, India-EU relations take a center stage. What does this growing partnership mean for global security? Meanwhile, the Indian Air Force faces a critical fighter jet shortage. The Indian Air Force chief warns of a serious gap in squadron. How can India build up this deficiency? And in a bold move, Bharat Forge claims that it can handle India's artillery needs. Is the private sector ready to replace foreign imports like that the K9 Vajra? Tune in this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Moving on, British Defence Minister John Healey will meet US Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth in Washington on Thursday to discuss a crucial peace plan for Ukraine. The meeting comes amid a flurry of diplomatic efforts to end the conflict after US President Donald Trump paused military aid to Ukraine following a fallout with President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. On the other hand, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is scrambling to repair relations with the US after a tense meeting with President Donald Trump. The Ukrainian leader has called the clash regrettable on his post on social media platform X, mentioning the meet. He wrote that the meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to be. It is regrettable that it happened this way. Zelenskyy also expressed his willingness to sign a contentious minerals deal which would grant the US access to Ukrainian minerals in exchange for military aid. However, the deal's fate remains uncertain. Trump's decision to halt military aid to Ukraine has sparked widespread criticism, with many viewing it as a betrayal. Zelenskyy now seeks reassurance of the US on Ukraine's commitment to peace and its readiness to negotiate with Russia. The move puts pressure on European allies to step up their support for Ukraine. Well, Germany's Conservatives and Social Democrats announced proposals on Tuesday to set up a €500 billion fund for infrastructure and overall borrowing rules in order to massively up defense spending. Leaders of both the parties, who are in negotiations to form a coalition after a national election last month, said recent events in the United States put pressure on them to act. Well, US President Donald Trump has frozen military aid to Ukraine after a clash with its President Volodymyr Zelenskyy last week. Leader of the CDU-CSU Conservatives, Friedrich Merz, said the CDU-CSU and SPD parliamentary group would submit a motion to the Bundestag lower house of parliament next week to amend the constitution so that defense expenditure above 1% of economic output is exempt from the debt brake. And updates now on Israel-Hamas conflict. Israel on Tuesday signaled a readiness to move to the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal, but stressed that an agreement on the release of hostages held by Hamas is crucial to extend the framework. Speaking in Jerusalem, Foreign Minister Gideon Saar said Israel was ready to proceed to the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal as long as Hamas was ready to release more of the 59 hostages it is still holding.
Minister Gideon Saar, and then we'll open it for questions.
We don't have an agreement on phase 2. We demand total demilitarization of Gaza Strip, Hamas and Islamic Jihad out, and give us our hostages. If they agree to that, we can implement tomorrow. We will only have to then discuss the ratio for the terrorists that want to get out from our jails, okay? It was not agreed in the agreement. It was left to be agreed on phase 2. There is no shelf agreement on phase 2. There's nothing in it.
Well, Israel criticized a plan put forward by Arab states for Gaza's reconstruction on Tuesday. Shortly after a summit of Arab leaders in Cairo, the Israeli Foreign Ministry in a social media post said the reconstruction plan failed to address the realities of the situation following Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. Israel also criticized the statement's reliance on the Palestinian Authority and the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, continuing Israel's allegation of corruption and support for terrorism against these entities. Earlier, Arab leaders adopted an Egyptian reconstruction plan for Gaza on Tuesday that would cost $53 billion and avoid displacing Palestinians from the enclave. Well, Egypt unveiled its plan on Tuesday while hosting an Arab League summit in its capital, Cairo. The plan aims to counter President Donald Trump's proposals for a Middle East Riviera by presenting a scheme for rebuilding the devastated Strip without displacing its population. Speaking at the start of the summit, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi called upon the leaders to adopt the Gaza Reconstruction and Development Plan.
As the
Arab Foreign Minister's endorsement of the Gaza Reconstruction and Development Plan and the adoption of the draft of the final statement, I now call upon to adopt the Gaza Reconstruction and Development Plan and the draft of the final statement. It has been endorsed.
بحيث تكون تلك اللجنة.
Well, in northwestern Pakistan, a suicide bombing tore through a security installation on Tuesday, killing at least 12 civilians and injuring dozens. The suicide bombers hit the wall of Bannu cantonment, about 200 kilometers southwest of Peshawar, in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Many of the injured, minors included, were taken into a hospital in Bannu. Police officials said the blast was likely caused by a vehicle laden with explosives, adding that the figures did not include any security force casualties. Well, a group affiliated with the Pakistani Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack in Bannu. Ali Amin Gandapur, the chief minister for Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, condemned the incident and said he had sought a report from senior police officials on the blast. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif denounced cowardly terrorists who targeted innocent civilians during the holy month of Ramadan and deserve no mercy. Pakistan's President Asif Ali Zardari condemned the attack in a statement as heinous, saying the entire nation rejects such despicable acts. And some global weather updates now. A severe storm wreaked havoc on a warehouse in the Louisville, Texas. The Benjamin Moore paint warehouse sustained missing walls and a collapsed roof with debris scattered throughout the parking lot and top of tractor trailers. Eyewitness videos captured the damage. The severe weather was part of a massive storm system moving across the country. Also, a tornado hit Ada in Oklahoma on Tuesday. Eyewitness videos showed uprooted trees, damaged roofs and debris left in the wake of the storm. The tornado caused significant damage to the city in Pontotoc County. The National Weather Service said that the tornado reached peak winds of 100 to 105 miles per hour and remained on the ground for 3.7 miles. It lasted for approximately 4 minutes. And Australia's east coast braced for a tropical cyclone swirling towards Brisbane on Wednesday. As authorities warned, thousands of properties were at risk due to strong winds and flash flooding. Australia's Weather Bureau warns that tropical cyclone Alfred could bring destructive wind gusts up to 155 kilometers per hour from Thursday afternoon, with the storm expected to make landfall as a Category 2 cyclone near Brisbane early on March 7th. While colourful parades, extravagant costumes and a whole lot of celebration for a period of 4 days, Carnival has taken over the south of the Netherlands. This vibrant festival marks the last big party before the fasting period begins. From music-filled streets to lively traditions, we take you inside the Dutch Carnival. Reporting from Netherlands, here is Mark Limburg with more on this festive event. Take a look.
Carnival in the Netherlands is a vibrant, centuries-old tradition. Every year, cities like Maastricht and Den Bosch explode with color, music and parades as people in costumes celebrate. More than just a party, Carnival is a cultural event filled with satire, community spirit and festive chaos. Let's take you inside this unique celebration.
Iedereen is gelijk welke rangstand je dan eigenlijk hebt.
Samen zijn, het familiegevoel, het vriendengevoel.
We zijn allemaal gelijk. We maken muziek. Iedereen leeft er naartoe.
It is a celebration where everyone is equal, no matter their background, job or social status. People wear costumes that hide who they are, creating a sense of unity. Rich or poor, young or old, everyone joins the fun together. The festival is about laughter, music and enjoyment, bringing communities together without barriers.
En even alles om je heen vergeten. Daar is het eigenlijk.
Carnival 2025 is more than just a grand parade. In the next few days, the city buzzes with vibrant events. Throughout local pubs and eateries, there will be live music and themed gatherings, ensuring every corner of the city pulses with carnival spirit.
Het gaat om saamhorigheid, samen vieren en respect voor elkaar. Samen, alles samen, daar gaat het om.
Mark Limburg reporting from Den Bosch, the Netherlands.
Well, Ted Lasso stars Hannah Waddingham and Juno Temple have been named the first UK duo for Mattel's Barbie role models ahead of International Women's Day on March 8th. Waddingham's Barbie is inspired by her red Tony Award couture gown from the 2024 Screen Actors Guild Awards, while Temple's Barbie reflects her orange Roberto Cavalli dress and tiger-shaped clutch from the 2024 Emmy Awards outfit. And still to come, DD India News Hour. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets UK leaders in London to strengthen bilateral ties. Aiming to attract investments, innovations in the semiconductor sector, Gujarat Semiconnect Conference to begin in Gandhinagar. And we'll tell you how empowered women entrepreneurs in India are redefining industries and co-creating and shaping a sustainable future.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Kuran, and moving on, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is visiting London. On Tuesday, he met top ministers of UK government. Minister Jaishankar called on Prime Minister Keir Starmer at 10 Downing Street today, conveying warm greetings of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The two leaders discussed taking forward a bilateral economic cooperation and enhancing people-to-people exchanges. Prime Minister Starmer also shared UK's perspective on the Ukraine conflict. Minister Jaishankar also met Foreign Secretary David Lammy for this extremely warm welcome at the Chevening House. While later, along with F.S. Lammy, Jaishankar met Chevening scholars from India. The Indian minister termed the group as a vivid expression of two countries' talent in people-to-people exchanges, saying they surely are great advocates of India-UK ties. And Prime Minister of Ghana, Brigadier Retired Mark Anthony Phillips, arrived in New Delhi for the World Sustainable Development Summit 2025 on Tuesday. The three-day WSDS 2025 begins today with the theme Partnership for Accelerating Sustainable Development and Climate Solutions. Well, the summit is the annual flagship multi-stakeholder convening organized by the Energy and Resources Institute. Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal stated that this visit will add further momentum to the strong and growing multifaceted relationship, including in the areas of sustainable development and renewable energy. Earlier in February, Ghana's Health Minister Frank Anthony expressed deep gratitude to India for its timely assistance during the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly for providing vaccines that played a crucial role in saving lives in Ghana. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in the post-budget webinar on employment today via video conferencing. The key themes of the webinar include investment in people, economy and innovation. Prime Minister will also address the gathering on the occasion. Driven by the vision of the Prime Minister, the government has taken multiple steps to promote job growth and generate greater avenues of employment. The webinar will foster collaboration among government, industry, academia and citizens, encouraging discussions to help translate the transformative budget announcements towards the same into effective outcomes. Well, with a key focus on empowering citizens, strengthening the economy and fostering innovation, the deliberations will aim at paving the way for sustainable and inclusive growth, leadership in technology and other sectors, and a skilled, healthy workforce working towards realizing the goal of Viksit Bharat or Developed India by the year 2047. And India's western state of Gujarat is all set to host a mega semiconductor conference, Gujarat Semiconnect Conference, from today at the Mahatma Mandir Exhibition and Convention Centre in Gandhinagar. Well, Union IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, along with Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, will inaugurate the three-day event, which will see participation from 2,500 delegates, industrialists, investors and policymakers. Also, the event aims to attract investments, integrate Gujarat semiconductor industry into global value chains and drive innovation in the sector. Also, 6 country-specific roundtables, including India-US, India-Japan, India-Taiwan, India-Korea and India-Singapore discussions will take place as part of the event. Parallel to the conference, an exhibition will also be held to showcase the semiconductor value chain from raw materials to advanced technologies. And the Indian Home Ministry and Defence Research and Development Organisation Collaboration Conference cum Exhibition on Advanced Technologies for Internal Security and Disaster Relief Operations opened in Delhi today. The two-day conference aims to equip Central Armed Police Forces officers with the latest advancement in technology to address challenges in their operations. Well, the Indian Defence Minister, who inaugurated the exhibition, said the internal and external security are two sides of the same coin, and all departments dealing with security must work in collaboration and synergy.
जो हमारा लक्ष्य एक है, तो फिर क्यों न हम इस दिशा में प्रयास करें कि हम आपस में इंटीग्रेशन करते हुए एक होलसम अप्रोच के साथ अपने अपने दायित्वों का निर्वहन करें। अगर हम एक साथ मिलकर काम करेंगे, एक दूसरे के काम आएंगे, तो सिक्योरिटी जैसे महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर हम और भी बेहतर रिजल्ट्स हासिल कर पाएंगे। जब मैं इंटीग्रेशन और कोलैबोरेटिव अप्रोच की बात करता हूं, तो मैं सरकार द्वारा इस दिशा में किए गए प्रयासों को भी मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में हमने हमेशा इस बात पर ध्यान दिया है कि संस्थाएं साइलोस में कार्य न करें, बल्कि एक दूसरे के साथ कोलैबोरेटिव अप्रोच के साथ वह काम करें।
Well, India is witnessing a new wave of entrepreneurship driven by young women who are redefining traditional industries with innovation and passion. From sustainable fashion to technology-driven solutions, these entrepreneurs are not only creating successful businesses but also empowering communities and preserving cultural heritage. Their efforts are taking Indian craftsmanship and skills to a global stage, making a significant impact on the economy and society. Here's one such success story. Let's take a look.
From the narrow lanes of rural India to international markets, Huts and Looms has emerged as a beacon of empowerment. Jaya Saha, a corporate professional turned entrepreneur, saw the untapped potential of Indian handloom and decided to bridge the gap between artisans and consumers. What started with just 5 weavers has now grown into a community over 500 skilled artisans producing exquisite textiles that blend tradition with contemporary aesthetics.
Started with a small group of weavers. While working with them, we found out there were quite a number of challenges in the handloom sector, especially with the fair wages and equal opportunities for men and women, which we tried to sort out while we have grown to around 500 plus artisans across the country. We also believe that if we are working with the rural artisans and empowering them, we are taking India to the global platforms. We want to create a brand, a legacy where we can globally represent India. We believe in the vision of Make in India. We believe in the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, because we believe if our roots are stronger, we are going to come out more stronger. We are going to grow more sustainably.
With a vision to take Indian handloom global, Hudson Looms is leveraging e-commerce and international collaborations to bring authentic, handcrafted fabrics to a worldwide audience. Weavers who once struggled for fair wages now have stable livelihoods. Through training programs and direct market access, young women entrepreneurs of India are not just reviving a craft but ensuring sustainability for generations to come. With a growing footprint in global markets, Hudson Looms is redefining the perception of Indian handlooms, making them a symbol of sustainable and ethical fashion. Kriti Varhera's report for DD India.
And on to some sports news now. Virat Kohli played a magnificent knock to gilt India to victory by 4 wickets against Australia in the semi-finals of the Champions Trophy in Dubai and seal berth in finals. Kohli fell for 84 runs but not before he took his team closer to victory. The ace batter added over 90 runs with Shreyas Iyer for the 3rd wicket after both the openers were dismissed below 50 runs. India lost captain Rohit Sharma for 28 runs while Shubman Gill was out for 8 runs. KL Rahul and Ravindra Jadeja took India over the line. Earlier, Indian bowlers restricted Australia to 264 runs after captain Steve Smith won the toss and opted to bat. Mohammad Shami took the first wicket when he dismissed Cooper Canely, while Travis Head was out after scoring quick-fire 39. Smith was the top scorer with 73 runs. Mohammad Shami was pick of the bowlers with 3 scalps, while Ravindra Jadeja and Varun Chakravarti took 2 wickets each. Well, the Indian crowd present at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium were elated after the thrilling match results as India secured win in the rematch of the 2023 ODI World Cup final.
Our team played well as expected, and Australia is always a tough opponent, so it was super duper cool. And yeah, we're looking forward to the finals, and we will be there in the stadium to cheer our team.
It was a great match, and we are going to finals, and we are going to win it this time. India! India! We saw a great game. Australia and Travis Head was our headed, but finally we kicked them out. Now it's going to be, whether it's New Zealand or South Africa, we are going to crush them. And the Champions Trophy is going to be ours.
And for more, we have Vinod Kumar joining us from Dubai. Well, Vinod, an absolutely thrilling match yesterday. Virat Kohli played a crucial role in taking India to the finals, and Mohammad Shami also restricted Australia to 264 runs. How crucial was their performance in setting up the chase?
Yes, Lipaksha, this was definitely the most thrilling semi-finals in ICC knockout series. Everyone is talking about Virat Kohli. Let me talk about something about Mohammad Shami first. Ahead of the semi-final, conventional wisdom suggested that spin will dominate this Dubai surface. Instead, Mohammad Shami emerged as a tournament's most potent bowling force, delivering a performance that defied the expectations which favored spinners to rule the roost in Dubai. The pitch gave seam and swing to Shami. The seamer began dramatically sending Cooper Connolly for a duck, and moments later he came undiagnosingly closer to dismissing Travis Head for a golden duck, narrowly missing a return catch that took the leading edge. He was the only sole specialist seamer in India's lineup. Shami faced multiple challenges yesterday. His companion Hardik Pandya conceded 40 runs in just 5.3 overs, could not give him enough support. Moreover, captains anticipated a spin-friendly surface, making Shami's role even more critical. Yet he remained undeterred, and he had a clinical approach yesterday, and he dismissed the most crucial wicket of Steve Smith. He was trying to drive over the overcover, and he was clean bowled by Shami's full toss. If Steve Smith was there in the crease, there was the possibility was there that Australia would have well crossed 300 mark, and that was the defining moment of yesterday's match when Steve Smith got out by Shami's perfect ball.
Absolutely.
The tide turns towards India. And in fact, he has scripted a couple of records also. 3 by 48 yesterday made him the third leading wicket taker in ICC knockout series. And speaking about Virat Kohli, he clinically outwitted the entire Australian bowling lineup. He had a patient knock. His 84 of 98 balls composed of only 5 only 5 boundaries. But he has matured over the time, and definitely his game has changed. He had a good patience throughout the match, and after the match, when he was speaking to the media, he was never bothered about his milestones. Milestones will come along the way, and he was definitely focused on the target at the hand, and he made himself worthy of the game in a high pressure situation like that of yesterday.
Right. Also, Vinod, with India securing a thrilling win in the semi-finals, do you think the momentum from this victory will play a significant role in their preparations for the finals now, and especially after the emotional rematch of the 2023 ODI World Cup final?
Definitely, Lipakshi. This victory over Australia will serve as a significant momentum booster for India's performance in the final. The win was not just advancing to the next stage, it carried this emotional weight that it avenged in the 2023 One-Day World Cup. In fact, the team that we faced yesterday was not the same experienced team that Australia had in 2023 World Cup. It was devoid of Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, Michael Marsh, and John Hazelwood. The psychological edge would play an important role in boosting the team performance. Let me say about 2 factors. One is the collective performance. India's semi-final win was a proof of the majority of our teamwork, with contributions from not only from Virat Kohli, from KL Rahul, and bowlers like Mohammad Shami, and I would say underappreciated Ravindra Jadeja. Such a competitive team effort reinforces their belief in the strategy and execution under pressure. And Virat Kohli's form, he is definitely back in form. Even with the match against New Zealand, he got out by a spectacular catch by Glenn Phillips, not any lacunae from his part. And this is also an unbeaten streak. India is unbeaten in the tournament so far, and highlights our consistency and adaptability across different conditions. Yesterday, everyone was saying about this pitch was spinner friendly, but the pitch was a new pitch that India had not faced in the league matches. This winning streak can create an aura of momentum that is essential, but India has to definitely guard against a complacency that might set in. This was mentioned by Gautam Gambhir in yesterday's press conference, that our eyes are completely parked in the coming final, and till the final is over, we will not be complacent, and we have that ability to maintain composure and execute plans under pressure situations. That will make India definitely the champions of the Champions Trophy.
All right. Thank you so much, Vinod, for all those details. And New Zealand will take on South Africa in the second semi-finals of the Champions Trophy in Lahore on Wednesday. New Zealand convincingly won their first 2 games of the one-day tournament in Pakistan, then lost to India in Dubai, and have now flown back to Pakistan again for the encounter. New Zealand are likely to stick with their 3-pronged pace attack of Matt Henry, Kyle Jamieson and Will O'Rourke, while South Africa defeated Afghanistan and England to top their group. South Africa might make some changes in the playing 11. Tabriz Shamsi has not appeared at the Champions Trophy, but the left-arm wrist spinner might be called up in place of paceman Langi Nagete. And for more on this, we have Deepika joining us. Well, Deepika, New Zealand has had a mixed campaign so far, if you talk about it, with strong wins followed by a loss to India. How do you think the team will approach this crucial semi-final against South Africa, and can we expect them to stick with their 3-pronged pace attack this time?
Morning, Lipakshi. And now it is going to be another thrilling contest when we talk about the second semi-final of the ongoing Champions Trophy. And this time the match is in Gaddafi Stadium, which is in Lahore. And South Africa and New Zealand both post a very good bowling unit, and one has the advantage of the spin attack as well, as you just mentioned in the report as well. Now it is going to be a very thrilling contest, because if we talk about the pitch here, it is the batter's paradise when we talk about Lahore's Gaddafi Stadium. So it is going to, give an edge to the batters as well. And here the toss would also play a crucial role, because whosoever wins the toss would prefer choosing batting first, because scoring a mammoth total would be difficult for the other team to chase. That has been the strategy here when we talk about Gaddafi Stadium. Talking about teams' performances, it is going to be a match between where the key players will be Henrik Larsson versus Kane Williamson, because both in the middle overs are really fiery players and capable of doing a lot when we talk about today's match. Talking about their current run, New Zealand as you said, it has been a mixed campaign for New Zealand, but South Africa have had an upper edge when we talk about their performance at Champions Trophy so far. But we also need not forget that New Zealand has got that big match tournament, big match temperament as well, because they've performed consistently in various ICC events, making it to the semi-finals as well as to the finals. However, the 2019 campaign was completely different for New Zealand, but they do have that big match temperament with themselves. And also considering the lineup that they have, the lineup that they boast, they've faced all the players there, the South African players as well. And considering the fact that we don't have a few of the major players with the South African squad, but a lot of experience, a psychological advantage having had a winning campaign at this edition of 2025 Champions Trophy, it's going to be a very tough deal when we talk about South Africa versus New Zealand, because the opponent is going to be India in the finals.
All right, the tough deal it is going to be. But Deepika, tell us, if South Africa has been also dominant in their group, defeating Afghanistan and England, what can we expect from their team?
They've been dominant indeed, but one match was also washed out. That was against Australia. That would have been a key match for them. However, they were lucky enough to have 1 point from that match, because that match got washed out. However, when we talk about South Africa's performance overall, they've been really dominant, and as I said, that their bowling unit is really strong. And when we talk about this particular pitch, which is the Gaddafi Stadium, the bowling will play a crucial role, but also it has to be a batting side which has to perform today when we talk about New Zealand, because both the teams are equally very strong and on equal footing when we talk about their performances so far. So let's see, Henrik Klaassen versus Kane Williamson, and Williamson's team has got Rachin Ravindra as well, and the big players as well, whereas you've got Temba Bavuma and the other players. So let's see how the units are going to perform today, considering the fact that this is a do or die match for both of them.
All right, a do or die match indeed. Thank you so much, Deepika, for all those details. And in football, Real Madrid claimed a small edge on Atletico Madrid with a tight 2-1 win in the first leg of UEFA Champions League 2024-25 last 16. Julian Alvarez levelled for Atletico after Rodrigo Goes sent the host ahead, with Brahim Diaz stroked home the winner for a record 15th time, to much delight of the team. Sergio Simeone's Atletico kept stars Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe quiet, but still came up short. Meanwhile, Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti opted for Morocco international Diaz in the midfield to replace the suspended Jude Bellingham. Atletico will host Real Madrid next week at the Metropolitano Stadium. The winner of the match will face Arsenal or PSV Eindhoven in the quarter-finals. And New Orleans celebrated the end of Carnival season on Tuesday with a colorful and lively Mardi Gras parade. Mardi Gras is one of the nation's largest and most renowned annual carnival celebrations. Take a look. That's all for this edition of DD India News Arm, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Arm.
This week on Defense Dynamics, the geopolitics in Europe is undergoing a major shift after the Trump-Zelenskyy clash. How will this affect the continent's security and alliances? As Europe rethinks its defense posture, India-EU relations take a center stage. What does this growing partnership mean for global security? Meanwhile, the Indian Air Force faces a critical fighter jet shortage. The Indian Air Force chief warns of a serious gap in squadron. How can India build up this deficiency? And in a bold move, Bharat Forge claims that it can handle India's artillery needs. Is the private sector ready to replace foreign imports like that the K9 Vajra? Tune in this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.